Hey, my name is James Nicholson and welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about the mortgage war. We've had a mortgage war in December and January. What I mean by that is lenders have been fighting for our business. But in the last few days or the last week or so, things have changed. So I want to talk about, is the mortgage war finally over? And if you're looking to borrow some money, what should you do right now? That's very, very important that you get things sorted. So while we jump into this, if you haven't done already, do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification. We're a smidge away. Very likely we'll hit it this week, 20,000 subscribers. It's my birthday this week as well. Maybe you can help me by giving me that subscribe and smash the like button or tickle the like button. Do something to the like button, guys. That really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Obviously, we want to grow the channel all the time, so doing that really helps us. So, there's been a mortgage war, which has been really good for a number of us. In fact, the mainstream media are suggesting this week that people that remortgaged under Liz Truss at that sort of time, a year ago we're talking about, people that got 6-7% interest rates, what the recommendation is in the media this week is to break that mortgage, pay the early redemption charges, which might be 1 or 2%, and get a lower fixed mortgage now. Now, that could be a good idea. You need to do your due diligence, check with your broker and all of that kind of stuff, see what your deal is. But that is something that is a possibility. And that's because rates right now are significantly better than they were 1 year ago. And the reason for that is that inflation has started to come down, not as quickly as we would have liked. We've got more inflation data this Wednesday, so we'll see, has that actually dropped? The Bank of England the other day in their meeting suggested that it's probably going to go up again this month, the data. And look, they know they've already had reports weeks before it's actually published, so they've got a good idea on what's going to potentially be coming a few weeks from now or a couple of days as it is now. So there's been this mortgage war, and that happened for a few reasons. Last year, transaction volume was down 20%, and that hits lenders. They need to lend money. They get all the fees, make money by lending money. That's their business model. And so 20% down is significant. That also hits the estate agents, solicitors, anyone's business that's in that sector. It's not been particularly good for those guys. So it's been really positive that we've had that mortgage war. And that's because the rate that the banks borrow at, which is called a swap rate, dropped. That dropped off the opinion of a lot of people that inflation was going to start coming down and the Bank of England would drop rates at some point in 2024. Now, that still looks likely, but inflation has been a little stickier. So what the Bank of England said the other day is that the January data that we get in 2 days' time will probably see an uptick, but then we're likely to see a drop in inflation quicker than we were expecting, and they think it could be close to that 2% target as early as April this year, which we weren't expecting at all. It was looking like that might go off until December, but there's been a big drop. However, there's still uncertainty around the world, and what the Bank of England are saying is that inflation may and likely will tick up again before the end of the year. That gave these lenders a little bit of uncertainty. The rates that they borrowed at, the swap rate, because of this uncertainty, went up, and that got passed on to us as the borrowers. So that's one reason. So the uncertainty around inflation, the fact the bank's saying it's going to drop, but then it's going to go back up, that meant the swap rate went up, and that meant that that got passed on to us. And so that little battle didn't happen so much. The first thing I said as well was that sales and transactions dropped in 2023, 20%. In January 24, it's been really busy. All the agents that I speak with, they said they've had a really good start. They've had an influx of buyers, and that's important. And the Rightmove saying that they've been busier than normal. Zoopla is agreeing with this statement. So an influx of buyers means that suddenly these mortgage companies have got more applications coming in, and so they don't need to be so competitive. They can only deal with a certain amount of applications anyway. They can be a little bit more picky, and that's another reason, because they've started so strongly in January, they've put rates up a little bit as well because of that. Now, does this mean that the rate war is over? Here's what I think is going to happen. Well, I think that you'll see the next quarter, rates will probably stick where they are. I don't think you're going to see much movement from the Fed or the Bank of England. I do feel that you will see rates, the Bank of England rate will start dropping in May, and the Federal Reserve around the same time as well. The Fed will obviously go before the Bank of England because we copy them basically. And so I think when that starts to happen, that will give a bit more certainty to the market. I think the property market will be quite slow February, March, April. I just feel that we've had the people that have sat on the sidelines from last year jumped in January because rates were cheaper. Now rates are being talked about going up slightly again. I think that means a pause again, a little bit more slowdown. I don't see buyers just flooding back into the market all year. And that means I think that May sort of time, you will start to see rates drop again. Mortgage rates that you get, I think will drop again marginally. Now, there are some good rates out there. There's plenty of rates out there that you can get for 4 point something. I've got a rate 2 weeks ago now at 3.99 on a buy-to-let in my own personal name with the Mortgage Works. I was pretty happy with that rate. I think the best rate you can expect this year is 3.5%. I think that's the sort of rate that we'll get by the end of the year if all goes well. And what I would also suggest is that if you're buying a property right now, you don't need to wait for that kind of rate. If you can get it at 4% today, but you can get a bigger discount on the property because of the uncertainty and you can negotiate well, then that's going to mean that you're going to, the rate will help you, but why wait? Why wait for the rate to drop if you can get it at 0.5% more, but you can secure a 10, 20% discount on the property? You can't do that on every property, but there are certain people that are in a position that they need to sell, want to sell, must sell that property. These are the people that you need to look for in today's market. So I think the mortgage war is over temporarily. I think it'll be back myself in the summer of 24 this year. So I do think you can get some good stuff there. Also, with regards to the media, they're talking about if you're on a 7% rate, should you break that? I think you should look at the terms on your mortgage, see what the redemption is. If you get a 1% penalty for leaving a 7% mortgage and you can roll that into the next payment, I would do that all day long. Last thing is as well, we've got an offer on at the moment for something called the Serviced Accommodation Accelerator. Right now, it's important to get high cash flow properties. It's important that you avoid things like Section 24, which is very expensive for landlords. And it's important that you really sharpen your toolbox and have different strategies as a property investor. We've got that on flash sale this week as it's my birthday week. So I'm going to pin a link below where you can grab a copy of the Serviced Accommodation Accelerator for a discounted price of just £99 this week. So do click on that, check it out, get enrolled. Hundreds of people took the Fundamentals of Property Investing program when we launched that. I expect this to be very popular as well. So do click on that, check it out. Now, do like the video, check all the other content on my channel, including this video right here.